Hi, welcome to NSDC. Absolutely delighted that you've made it this far. We are actually selecting some of the best talent from across the world, and you're one amongst many hundreds who apply to our organization. So we're extremely privileged to have you here, and we're delighted, and we hope this journey is going to be very, very useful for you. Just to introduce myself, I'm Arjun Khanna and I am the Senior Head HR for NSDC. Uh, to share with you what we're doing in HR, we're actually anchoring everything in HR around two tenets. The two tenets being number one, it should improve employee experience, and number two, it should impact the lives of people who are outside the head office. So if we are able to do stuff in HR which impacts the lives of people outside office, I think we've done part of our job. Now, to share with you, therefore, technology is going to be and is a driving factor. So let me share with you some of the initiatives that we are driving to ensure that we are inclusive and we are able to improve the employee experience. So right from the time you apply to NSDC, one of the things that most organizations battle with is that they don't get responses. We try to ensure that we've built systems where we'll end up responding to almost everybody. The second is the moment that happens and you've made it past your CV and that makes the cutoff, then we do have systems where we'll have video interviewing happening on your mobile anytime, anywhere. Now that's we are going to we are using artificial reality and machine learning in things like that, which actually gives us a cutting edge while analyzing people who wish to join NSDC, and also allows us to handle the scale that we're talking about. Then when we talk about people coming to NSDC, and this induction program per se is also pretty novel. We based it on Pokemon Go. So really using mixed reality and virtual reality, you'll be able to walk around the office and actually see what the office environment is and interact with people like us. And that's again anytime, anywhere. Then we're looking at we've got systems like Facebook for Work, which is called Workplace. So when you join NSDC, you'll be part of Workplace, which is like a Facebook app, and you can actually connect with people from across boundaries, across nations, even with people sitting outside the country, chat with them, do a video call with them, and get updates from them, and put updates yourself on Workplace. We are also looking at, and we have got the HRIS system up. The HRIS system would allow you to access your leaves and your salary slips. So employee self-service pretty much anytime, anywhere. So as I said, we're looking at the things from a different perspective, that we want to enable and empower our people and actually give them the best that organizations offer, because the sort of talent that we are attracting people from all over the world. We have people who are from different parts of India. They bring a lot of diversity at the workplace. So we're an equally opportunity employer and like to ensure that anything and everything that we're doing is inclusive. And therefore, the entire talent pool is designed to actually do things which will enable the workforce of tomorrow across India, and all that is happening from this office. If you really, since you've made it this far, I wish you all the very best in your journey ahead, and wish you many successes ahead. Hi and welcome to NSDC. I lead human resources, and what we are trying to do is humanize resources. In the world of cobots, robots, AI, and most importantly people, I think what's very key is that we humanize this entire experience of how you experience HR. We are working with just two tenets in mind. So just to put things in perspective, we are establishing some of the best systems which will touch your lives. What are we focusing on? We're focusing on just two things. Number one, it should improve the employee experience. Number two, does it touch the lives of people outside our office first? So if it doesn't touch the lives of people who are sitting outside our office, it doing any of what we do will not have any element of scale built into it. And if we don't touch the lives of people who are in the field and who actually make a difference, we are not doing justice. So therefore, all of what we've designed is around these two principles. Okay? So therefore, all of HR should be available to you anytime, anywhere. And that's how we are looking at designing the next generation of technologies and systems and processes. I'm going to walk you through some of these. I'll spend lesser time on the policies of HR because the handbook is there for you to see, and also what is the current rule in place is also there for you to see. So let's start with the journey of you applying to NSDC. So what are we going to do differently and what are we doing differently? Number one, when you are applying to NSDC, we are looking at a few hundred applications per role. Okay? But how do we ensure that we get these roles in front of people who matter? So we're using a tool which fires status updates on your social networks with your permission after you've given us access to that. So let's say, for example, I'm looking for a head of, we're looking for an HR role. Okay? I need to reach out to different people's networks. It's possible that the right person is sitting in your network, or your network, or your network. So what the system will do is actually fire status updates on your network, on your LinkedIn profiles after you give it access. And then, when someone clicks on it, they'll actually come to our careers page. When that happens, the shortlisted people will actually have to undertake a interview on a mobile app. And on that mobile app, we've got artificial intelligence and machine learning built into it, which when you take those questions, anytime, anywhere. And again, this app allows, so we would have set the questions for that role. Let's say for HR, we set 5-7 questions. The moment you interview and put the phone down, we actually see a video recording of it. And we got AI and machine learning both working on it to tell us how many times the person's lied in an interview, because we're watching eyeball movement and face gestures and your tone and all of that. We're also looking at, so That's one side of it. Then we've got competencies. Now competencies, if you look at it, the world now is moving away from just a particular job description. So one of the things that you see a transition towards is that we're going to move towards certain skills that we're looking for. These days, what are some of those skills? I need a person to understand how to use technology. I need a person to understand how to understand data. Thirdly, human interaction. And so these are three facets under which there will be many other skills, but these three would be definitely important while we are hiring for any particular role. And then be some which are specific for different roles. But these days, we've got to reskill ourselves so quickly that I need a certain type of people who are open to reskilling themselves very quickly, relearning, reskilling. If I have a mindset that I've learned whatever I had to, I'd never be able to reskill myself. And therefore, we need a very agile organization. If we've got to deliver skilling to the world, we better be skilling ourselves very quickly and reskilling ourselves. So that's one element. Once you come into the system, the app for induction has, it's like Pokemon Go. Okay? So you walk around the office and the app knows that you are here at this point. Okay? So you're standing in front of HR's room. Out comes HR's 360-degree video, like what you're seeing right now, and you get a welcome message. Again, anytime, anywhere. It's not dependent on who, when, how. So, also, you would have there are presentations already sitting on the app. So you have access to that information, not when you're in a session like this, but also whenever you actually join the organization. So you don't have to wait for a session like this to happen to actually view information. So you can access, number one, the introductory video, then you access your presentation, and then the third access is to this recording which is happening. So which is a more detailed, deep down. But we'd like to ensure that whatever we are doing has ultimate impact. And how do we do? Learning.nsdcindia.org is where you'll go. And when you go there, different induction modules is what you see there. And these are presentations which you can go through. After that, there's also an assessment. So you'll get your confirmation after you pass that assessment. So it's very, very important, very key that you understand the entire ecosystem and the business before you actually jump into what you start doing. So that's the focus. Again, anytime, anywhere, because learning.nsdcindia.org is available to you from anywhere, any gadget. The other concern which people outside our office have is I'm not part of a lot of the initiatives. I don't know what's happening in office. So therefore, Workplace, which is nothing but Facebook for work, was born. So we launched it. And out there, we are putting out birthday messages, events, and you can even go live. And the beauty of it is that we've had people from different parts of the country and different parts of the world even doing video chats with us to say, listen, I want to do just a face-to-face, can we just solve this? So important thing of solving tomorrow's problems will not be trying to solve it in silos, but collaborate with each other. And so that's one of the collaboration platforms. Again, anytime, anywhere. And does it touch people's lives outside office? The answer is yes. We're looking at learning also from a different perspective. That can we get in learning modules where an expert could be teaching from anywhere, and that expert can be you as well. So it's possible you probably know some facets about analytics or technology or machine learning or even say art. You're brilliant at it, but no one knows it within the ecosystem and no one's been able to leverage it. So we will give you an opportunity to use this tool to actually reach out to people within the office. And once you create this, it's here to stay. Because once you've created that video, that's going to stay. The performance management system, so that's the other thing. So you've got, if you ask, what are the 2-3 key things which drive most people, and I'd like responses from you all. What are the top 3 things which you're looking at from any organization? Any organization. Top 3.
Employee satisfaction.
Okay. What's that a function of?
Everything and anything.
Okay.
Reward and recognition.
All right.
Healthy work-life balance.
Never-ending learning and work-life balance.
Various opportunities. Scope to learn new things and not just to sit at a table, go outside and learn practical reality.
Right.
I would say good work-life balance and new learnings every day. They should be learning, and obviously rewards, recognition, and the whatever you are getting from the company,
Right.
the work you are doing.
Yep.
Rewarded recognition.
Do you think it's common?
So very interesting. Normally, reward and recognition in most surveys shows up as point number 3 or 4. What normally shows up is that in employee satisfaction, about 48% of your happiness actually depends on your manager. Okay. So number 1, when you come to employee satisfaction, it boils down to your manager. Number 2, what comes down is that you have learning and development, which comes out as number 2 point, and number 3 point is growth opportunities. But I wanted to hear it from this room. And number 4 is normally rewards and recognition. But it's absolutely fine if you have them in reverse order or in different priorities. And I think working towards that is also a career path framework developed, which will lay out if you have these different skills, how can these different skills be applied across the organization? So you're not tied down to doing the same thing over and over again, and therefore even experiment and toy with different things which are happening across organization. across the organization. So that's from a skills perspective, and that's what I was sharing, that we're not only going to look at things from a jobs perspective, that this is the job description, this is what you were hired for, and therefore you're not capable of doing anything else, because people start businesses at the age of 60 in absolutely unrelated areas, or what they may have done for the first 30 years of their life, or 35 years of their life. So therefore, it's important to say, I'm capable of doing 2, 3, 4 different things. This is what interests me, and this is where I'd like to go. And that's the element of humanizing resources. I'll touch upon some of the things which matter. So what we'll do is we'll just quickly touch upon holidays and leaves, working hours, attendance, insurance and health checkups, expense policy, and other benefits. Having said that, it's also equally important to note that there are two parts of the HR policy. There is the policy and there is the guidelines. So policy is a broad framework that this is ideally what we want to do. However, in the guidelines, if it's a holiday for 2 days, that 2 days may become 1 day and it may become 5 days, which may change every now and then depending on business requirements. Yeah. If I have more robots working for me, then I probably have no holidays in there for the robots. Okay. So, I'd also like to touch upon that we're probably one of the most agile organizations in the country. And what do I mean by agile? We have, an agile organization is, can I shift from start doing this to start doing this very quickly? If you are 5 people in a room and you say you're doing this and you're working on this, let's start working on this. The biggest barrier is not about making those 5 people do something new. It's about changing the mindset of those 5 people to do something new. Yeah. So that's the first thing that you need to overcome. The second thing is the resources, which you need to redeploy very quickly. So how are we structured? So I'd like to touch upon that. We have different kinds of team members, and I'm using the word team members because we have different, it's not only employees. So we have full-time employees, we have full-time consultants. The difference being that as a full-time consultant, you may not have some of the medical benefits and a few other benefits. Okay? But the flip side is that you raise an invoice and you get a certain amount, your net take home in hand is higher than a full-time employee with an equal salary. Okay? You also have short-term consultants. So what is a short-term consultant? That the person only gets to work X number of days in a period of say 3 months or 6 months. So we would have defined that he has to do 30 days and he is or she is called in whenever the expertise is required. Then we have interns, like most organizations. So you work as an intern, and some people also get converted and become full-time employees or full-time consultants after that. Okay. Then we have term contract people. So people who are working as full-time employees, but it's only for 3 years or 5 years that their contract is there. And then we have also team members from other organizations who are working full-time with us, and they sit out of our office, which are called project management units or project management teams, which could be from different consulting firms. So very quickly, if I need to restructure my team, I can say, okay, if I put a few STCs here and I get a PMO team from here and I get someone to lead this, we have a new team. Right? And that's how we in skilling are trying to solve bigger problems. And sometimes teams need to be redeployed very quickly. That's one of the ways of doing it. If you had everyone as full-time employees, बस मैं तो ये काम करता हूँ, सीन ही नहीं है, मैं कुछ और कर सकता हूँ. You know, so we've got to think differently. So, in terms of leaves and chilling out, you've got 18 days. And these are 18 working days. So if you have a Saturday, Sunday in the middle, that's not counted. Okay. So compensatory off is when you worked on a weekend or a holiday, and you can take time off, but that's the grade 5 and below. Just to share with you, and I should have touched on it earlier, we have 10 grades out here. G1 being the lowest grade, G10 being the managing director and CEO, and all other grades lie in between. Yeah. We encourage you to start taking on responsibilities very early, and often a lot of you may have already experienced it, that you have the opportunity to take on bigger challenges, and whatever you do here impacts the nation. Yeah, so it's important to keep that in mind. Third one interests a lot of people is a sabbatical. So, in certain cases, you just want to take time to rediscover yourself and rediscover and work on something new. You may want to take time off. Under certain special circumstances, you apply for it. There's no guarantee you'll get it, but you get unpaid time off, which is a sabbatical, which could vary between 180 days to 2 years. Yeah, but it's given on a case-to-case basis. As far as parenting is concerned, we're delighted when the family grows, and educated as the NSTC family growing. So we have maternity leave, which is in line with the Act, which is a 6-month leave. We have an adoption leave of 6 weeks. We have a paternity leave also for fathers, which is 5 days, but 5 days in one shot. You can't say I take 2 now and 2 later, or 3 later. And you have 10 other holidays, which are national holidays and other festivals that we have off in the year. Yeah. And try to plan your holidays around these holidays. You probably get a little longer time. So this is a question which often comes up. What are our working hours? Our working hours are 8:30 a.m. You can come in between any time between 8:30 a.m. and 10 a.m. and you have to clock in 8.5 hours per day. And how do we capture it? We actually capture it through an access card. Do we track it? The answer is yes. So oft asked question is that if I just do 8.5 hours and I come in at 12 o'clock, is that cool? The answer is no, because you're working in teams and some of the other team members are going to be here earlier and the time needs to overlap. So is 8:30 to 10 mandatory that you come in between those times? The answer is yes. Now, I certainly hope you don't have to use some of this. So you have group personal accident insurance, and all employees and full-time consultants are covered. So that's graded. We have 10 lakhs for grade 1 to 3, 20 lakhs for grade 4 and above. Then we have Mediclaim insurance, which is not only for you, your spouse, and children, and you can also have a parent, so that it can be 6. Now, I'll share with you another frequently asked question. Can I have let's say I've already got 6 on against my name, and there is an addition to one's family. So will you give me a 7th? So the answer is no. You'll have to take someone off from that list and put the baby on it. Yeah. Parents and in-laws are covered on a co-pay model. A co-pay model being that you pay part of it and the company pays part of it. Okay, so that's the total coverage of 10 lakhs. We also have annual health checkups, and depending on the tie-up, you would end up going to that hospital. You just need to inform the hospital beforehand, keep us marked, which is keep HR marked, and things will get taken care of. It's normally a half-day or procedure where a thorough checkup is done. And we highly encourage you to do that because you get a very detailed report at the end of it. So we also have a company doctor who comes on campus. If you just want a few things checked up, he's on campus and he's there on Mondays and Thursdays. You do hear from us every now and then that he is on campus. So do take advantage of it. I'll just probably go and have a cup of chai. I really don't want you to go for any other reasons. Right. So now typically a lot of teams end up traveling out here. So what do we have around that? So tickets, you just need to tell the travel agent. The email ID will be available because that could change. That's the reason why I'm not sharing it. So we have up to grade 7, you travel economy. Your accommodation is taken care of, and depending on the hotels and depending on that year's policy, the amount changes depending on the prices and the fares of the hotels. So the caps change every now and then. As of now, the DRS allowance is, which is a daily sort of an allowance if you're out, which is 1200. And then we've also made it very simple for you to use cabs. You have access to Uber and you have access to Ola, and you can use them as options. You just need to use the corporate option, and you can book your cab. However, there are some places where you don't have either Ola or Uber. You can book a cab, and that's up to 2,500 for metros and 2,000 for non-metros, and that's normally sufficient to get by for the day. And please note that in case business needs require you to do something otherwise, sometimes we do step in and say, this is an exception and we'll do it. But I'm underlining that sometimes. So as I mentioned, we have tie-ups with Ola and Uber. And and if you use your car, let's say you're in your local town, you end up using your own car, you're welcome to seek reimbursement up to a certain amount per kilometer, and that changes as per the HR rules, and depending on what's in force, that's what you can claim. Yeah? So, in case of distress, or sometimes, sheer need, we do have a concept of a salary advance being given. The amount would vary upon how long you've spent in the organization, and I'd encourage you to read through the policy. We got meal coupons, which could be Sodexo, it could be Paytm. So again, anytime, anywhere. Moving away from the usual card system to digital wallets. Okay. You can also avail the leave travel allowance as per the income tax rules, which means that if you want to travel to a particular place, you have to travel by a national carrier, and it's the shortest distance between two places. So it's not, if you want to go from here to Kurg, it's not from here to Kanyakumari and then Kurg, so that's not counted. It's the shortest distance between two places, and you can choose the leave travel allowance. Now, the employee referral program is something which I wanted to touch on. So when I told you that those links will get shared on your profiles, there's also a link back which the person, when he enters, that this is the person who referred us. Okay? Or you may just have somebody from your network, when you know somebody from, that this person could apply for this job, you can actually have people apply and make some money out of it. Okay? So that's the referral program, and I highly encourage you to use it because we'd like more people from within your network to come and work for us. Now, when you relocate, and that's sometimes required as for business needs, the organization does ensure that your relocation costs are taken care of. So not only do you get money for your movers and packers, you also are put up at the hotel for a certain period of time when you are at the other end. Yeah. And if there are any questions, I'll be more than happy to take them. So, thank you. There's one more after this, which is the Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act, which I need to just quickly do. Is this going to stop? I'd like to touch on a very, very important topic as far as the organization is concerned. It's called Prevention of Sexual Harassment. And one of the things that all of you need to do is, after we go through this, we go to learning.nstcindia.org, and once you log in, you'll have this module to go through, and you'll have to clear the quiz. Each of us in the organization needs to be certified, and that certification needs to be shared back with HR when I have cleared it and I have understood what all of this is. Now, this is really to ensure that we provide, we have a very diverse workforce, and that will continue to be diverse. So we want to ensure we make it safe for everyone to work, and we don't want any sort of harassment at the workplace. And there's definitely not sexual harassment of any sort. So the important thing to understand is, firstly, I just like to touch upon what all we cover. So we define some sexual harassment and offensive behaviors. We'll just see what are the two statutes which govern it from a legal background. The effects that it has on people and their well-being and their families. Recognize the different kinds of sexual harassment, because sometimes people don't know whether this would classify as sexual harassment or no. So just touch upon that, and how do we address some of this? So if you want to get to it, how do we address some of it? Now, what are the two statutes which govern it? The Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act in 2013 is what is in force, and that's what we are following. And all of this is based on the Vishakha guidelines. The objective is very clear. We want it to be safe for everyone to work. when I say everyone, anyone even who is working as a contractual team member should feel safe. And it doesn't matter what level you are. Right? Do we make any exceptions to it? The answer is zero tolerance. Yeah. Therefore, I'll also share with you that if you do see something happening which you think is not right, you have various choices, and I will share those with you. So, what all constitutes sexual harassment? Now, any physical contact which has a bit a sexual undertone to it. So one is just going and patting someone on the back and saying "good job done," and the other one is a very sensual sort of a touch which can make anyone feel very it's extremely unwelcome. Any kind of sexual favors that you'll get promoted, let's do this, let's go out together, completely out of bounds. Now, lots of jokes go around very often, and sometimes, in the light of the moment when one may end up joking on someone's body, that's completely not cool, and that's out of bounds. Or showing someone any form of sexual content on your phone or your laptop or computer or whatever, absolute no. And sometimes you don't need to say anything, you just need to keep staring at someone. That in not a very nice way would also constitute sexual conduct, unwelcome sexual conduct. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that if the complainant had welcomed the respondent's conduct, so sometimes things do happen where there was no offense taken, and both parties were equally to blame. And in that case, if something comes up, then that would not constitute as sexual harassment. But I don't encourage you to have relationships at work. So, certain elements, as the law describes, that what are some of the constituents which are essential when you're facing a complaint. Number one, sexual in nature. Number two, must be unwelcome. And number three, must happen at the workplace. Now, a lot of people end up traveling. Would that constitute workplace? When your work requires you to go there, that constitutes workplace. Okay? Does it include people who are working with us but not our employees? They can also complain. Okay? That I was dealing with XYZ and I just felt very uncomfortable. It was late at night and this didn't seem right. So you can definitely complain and talk about it. Now, the kind of workplace harassment which typically takes place, when you're talking about sexual harassment, one is you do this for me and I'll do that for you. That's a quid pro quo arrangement. And the second is If you don't do this, you see what the consequences will be. Neither of them are acceptable in NSDC's parlance. And we come down very hard on it. Now, what is a quid pro quo environment? So, sometimes you may say, you do this for me, you'll get preferential treatment, you get a trip abroad, or you get promoted. None of that should happen. The other thing could be that you don't do this and you get a threat towards your job. You can get fired at 5. Okay? So, sometimes it can also happen that the candidates apply and you say, you do this and you can get hired. That's also complete no-no. And any action where you say, I will demote you, or I will not promote you, or I will transfer you if you don't comply with this, is absolutely out of bounds. Now, hostile work environment on the other hand is creating an intimidating work environment, and sometimes you may have too many guy jokes getting cracked because there are more guys and there's only one girl in the team, and therefore you just take it for granted that she's not said anything, so I can keep cracking these jokes. Answer is no way. Okay, so as I said, no obscene gifts or dressing or graffiti or which kind of makes the other person just not find it acceptable, is absolutely out of bounds. Now, what does workplace mean? It could be an organization, department, institutions, your office, you could be sitting in a 2-people office, that could be a branch office or a remote office. And it could be any sort of a work environment, whether it's public or private. You could be working with NGOs and trusts and societies. All of it under the Act gets covered as workplace. So you could be working in any type of these organizations. Just to recap, we're a not-for-profit Section 8 company, and we have public-private partnership. 49% is government and 51% is private. Different kinds of sexual harassment. They can be verbal, so you can say a few things. Sometimes you may say, let me show you something. Unwelcome touch, any of that would fall under physical, or writing certain things either on notes or scribbling something on someone's notepad or sending emails or text messages. That's not good. So, who would you typically go to? If the current committee consists of these team members, and which is headed by Ms. Vandana Bhatnagar, who is a CPO and also leads this. We have an external member, Dr. Vinita Shankar. You can go to the CFO, you can go to the legal head, you can go to Shija, you can go to Rekha, you can go to Nidhi. That's who the current team consists of, and if required, we do reconstitute this team. So one option is to walk up to them and talk to them. God forbid something happens, where do you go? either you go to those team members or you even have a choice to even write to this email ID, which is wehearyou at nsdcindia.org. This is accessible only and only by those people which were mentioned on the former slide, not by HR and not by anybody else. Okay, it goes directly to those people, and you can write in and say, this is what the problem is. You need to describe the situation as to what's happened and what circumstances they are in, and you will definitely hear back from the POSH committee, as it's called, which is Prevention of Sexual Harassment Committee. And these, needless to say, will be kept completely confidential between you and the committee, and when required, the person being accused of will be called in. Yeah. Thank you.